Right, so we have our first benchmarks for the M2 chip, and they're surprisingly better than we thought. And so let's delve into it, guys, but first, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. And with that being said, let's just tuck in. So yes, found within Geekbench, we have scores for the M2 chip, and basically the single core performance is 1919, and the multi-core performance is 8928. Now those numbers are pretty pointless without comparison to other chips, and basically this is an 11.56% improvement over the M1 for single core, and as for the multi-core performance, that's a 19.45% gain. Now Apple did say the M2 performance was 18% better than the M1 chip, and so this is actually slightly better, which is a very nice surprise. And as for the actual CPU clock, the M2 is 3.49 GHz compared to 3.2 GHz with the M1 chip. And so yeah, that's a pretty nice improvement. The only thing I'm curious about is how bad the throttling is going to be with the M2 MacBook Air, because this, I'm assuming, has been tested with the M2 MacBook Pro that's releasing first, that has a fan, and that allows the M2 chip to perform at full capacity, but of course, the M2 Air is fanless, and so with the more powerful chip, I do wonder how this is going to throttle compared to the M1 chip in the older MacBook Air. However, to be fair, the throttling with the M1 Air has been pretty minimal, so I do think there should not be any major throttling issues with the new MacBook Air. And by the way, I do want to mention that comparing this M2 chip to the 10-core M1 Pro in the MacBook Pros, this is surprisingly close. So the single core performance is 1326 on the M1 Pro. That makes sense because that has older A14 cores, the M2 has newer A15 cores, and so single core performance being better with the M2 chip is not a surprise. What's surprising to me actually is the fact the multi-core performance is very similar to the M1 Pro chip that has more performance cores. So yes, for a much lower price, getting very similar performance to the M1 Pro chip on paper is pretty impressive. And what's even more impressive to me is, of course, the M2 Max have much better battery life than the M1 Pro base 14-inch that I'm assuming a lot of people are going to be cross-shopping, so yeah, I do think M2 might be the better buy because you're getting very similar performance and also much better battery life. But guys, let me know your thoughts on these benchmarks in the comments below. Anyways, thank you for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the link above on details regarding the iPhone 14 series. And on that note, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya, peeps.